Welcome in, everybody. I hope you are well. Sending everyone peace and love. Okay. So before we get started today, I'm going to start with a few announcements. Each week, as we get, I know there's some new people in here. Each week, as we gather together for these meetings, the goal is to create a collective space of peace, of empowerment, of healing, encouragement, a place where we can collectively get on a vibration that is a good vibration, with hopes of us creating an energy that we can carry with us throughout our day and have a positive influence on us. There are various challenges that we're going to face in our day to day. And one thing I've recently learned is that these challenges don't have to become stressors. They can be perceived as pressures, and those pressures can lead to your strength and your empowerment and your growth and progress towards your goals. So the purpose of these meetings is to teach us different skills, primarily centered around meditation, but to teach us mindset mastery skills. So that way, as life is lifing, we are able to navigate those experiences, all the experiences, both the pleasurable and the less pleasurable ones. So that way nothing stands in our way of achieving our goals. Okay. Last week we covered the topic of what are you being called towards? Like what is the universe calling you to do? Maybe it's calling you to step up in some form, some aspect of your life. Okay. And I posed that question to the group, let everybody reflect on it, figure out what action steps they needed to take. So we're going to continue with that theme this week. And we're going to discuss the topic of fear, because oftentimes, even once we realize what we are being called towards, even once we realize our next steps or our purpose, fear stops us from taking action. So we want to go ahead and do our best to eliminate that, so that way it does not stop us from where we're trying to go. Okay. Other announcements: we are adding the adult ADHD support group. That's going to be held on Fridays. It's going to be Fridays, 7 a.m. Pacific. And for those on the West Coast, I know that can be early, but I'll do my best to try to accommodate all the different time zones. So if that 7 a.m. just doesn't work for everybody, then we will try to adjust it. But it's going to be Fridays at 7 a.m. Pacific and 10 a.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. East Africa time. Okay. Before we get into our meditation, I want to open the floor. Any reflections, questions, or anything anybody wants to share before we move into meditation? And after the meditation, we'll get more into the topic of fear. And okay, we have Deej in here. Hi, Deej, welcome in. So we were just getting started. I was sharing a little bit about the topic for this week, in that last week we talked about what are we being called. I know you were there at last week's meeting. What are we being called? How is the universe calling us to step up, to level up, in what form? And this week we're talking about fear, because fear tends to be the thing that stops us. Even once we know what direction we're being called into, once we know our next steps, fear will stop us. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But I want to go ahead and open the floor up for any reflections, any questions, anything anybody wants to share in this moment. Hey, friend. Hey, friend.
I'm gonna share in this moment real quick because I won't be too audible or vocal during the time, but I'm definitely receiving and listening and tapping in and getting my soul powerful, that is necessary in this moment. And so I appreciate the space and you creating space. And with that, just jumping into it, as my team know, as you know, just crossing over a lot of fear this whole beginning of this year, like full of fear, but pushing through that and doing things like getting my comedic yoga certification, which I know I've been wanting for a long time. And, it's just a confirmation of that we can overpower that fear and still do the things that we say is our purpose and our mission. So I encourage you all, get out there and get it. But I'll be listening in. Thank you so much for creating this space.
Yes. I was bragging about you today, friend. I was like, yo, my friend went through it this year, but she came out, she handled it like a goddess. And so many things were flourishing in her life at the same time these challenges were presenting, and because you didn't allow the challenges to overcome you, you've been able to cash in on some beautiful blessings. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you for sharing. All right, anybody else want to share anything? Okay, okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move into our meditation for today, and then we're gonna wrap up with the topic of fear. So as we go into this so given that we are on the subject of fear, when we're entering into this meditation, I want you to keep in mind any types of fear you're holding on to, right? Whether you feel it physiologically in your body, right? Maybe tightness in your throat, your heart rate, maybe body tension, headaches, upset stomach, or if you're experiencing that fear more on an emotional level or a cognitive level. So emotionally, just feeling a little on edge or feeling afraid, feeling nervous. Sorry about that. Y'all know Mercury retrograde is happening right now, okay? So, all right, so we are back. Okay. So as I was saying, whether you experience that fear on the physical level, as I was describing, or on the feelings level, or even the cognitive level as it relates to your thoughts, right? Having thoughts of expecting things to go bad, expecting misfortune, making little things bigger than what they need to be, all or nothing, black and white thinking. These can all be signs of fear. So in whatever ways you are dealing with fear, and then also think about the ways that you manage your fear, right? Are they healthy ways? Are they helpful ways? Or are they not so helpful ways? Okay. And I think we're also, we have a full moon coming up. I believe that's correct. Is it a full moon coming up in a couple of days, right? Good. Okay. So we have a full moon coming up, and that's always a good time for release. Once things have been illuminated to us, we can identify what we want to release. So this is a great timing, right? So we talked about last week. We talked about what level are we being called to elevate to, and now we're identifying the thing that would stop us from making that elevation. And now that we have this energy of this full moon working with us, this would be a great time to identify that thing while everything's being illuminated, and then to release that. So that way it's not a factor. Okay. So as you're in meditation, think about what fears you hold on to. How are they showing up in your mind, in your body, in your emotions? And what ways are you dealing with that fear? Are you avoiding? Are you enduring it? Are you, um, uh, experiencing it? Are you actually working through it? Are you not allowing that fear to control you? Maybe there's certain fears, they don't control you anymore, but there's others that you continue to struggle with. So as we do the meditation, I want you to kind of keep those things in mind. And as we breathe, right, I want that breath to be a conscious exercise of releasing, of letting go of that fear, right? And as you breathe, think about certain areas that fear might be stored in your body. Maybe there might be certain places where you were hurt on a emotional level or physical level, and allow that breath to clear out that space. Okay. So this would be a good time to grab incense, grab crystals, grab Palo Santos sage. I see Deech has her Palo Santos. Grab whatever you need to kind of cleanse your energy space and get yourself ready for meditation. I'm gonna get set, and then we will venture in to our meditation for today. And Deech, I'm gonna mute your video just so the audio can come through clear. Okay. Thank you. Uh-oh. We did it at the same time. Okay. All right. And somebody let me know if you all can hear. I want to make sure is that coming through? Can you hear my voice in the bowl?
No, yeah, the bowl kind of goes in and out.
What about now? No. So interesting. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Go without the bowl today. Let's just go ahead and begin to ground ourselves in this moment. When we ground ourselves, this is us bringing our focus, our attention here in this setting. Grounding ourselves is allowing ourselves to just do this one thing in this moment. Grounding ourselves is reminding ourselves that we're safe in this moment. We can be here right now in this moment. There's nothing else to do. This time spent in stillness with self is very productive. It's very healing. It's very necessary. It's very essential to our well-being. So allow yourself to fully be here in this experience. And as you allow yourself to be here, don't judge yourself. Or try not to judge yourself. Even if your mind begins to wonder, that it's okay. Right? Just allow yourself to just observe this experience. Just notice what comes up. As always, let the breath be the guide. Let it guide you to a deeper level of relaxation. Let the breath be your guide of your mental focus. So if you do become distracted, then just take a deep breath in through your nose, out of your mouth to bring your focus back to the meditation. And whenever you want to go deeper into yourself, just take those deep breaths. And remember that with each breath we release, we're cleansing and purifying our body being. And in particular today, we're cleansing and purifying the energy of fear. So now that we've grounded ourselves in this moment, your eyes open or your eyes closed, I want you to go ahead and take a nice, tall, confident stance, sitting up nice and tall, with your shoulders back, your chest open. This alone is a symbol of courage, of strength. We're already beginning to release that fear just by standing here in this posture of power. With your hands placed on your knees, palms down. We're going to enter into some deep breathing just to settle us into this moment. To allow us to clear our minds, relax our bodies, and embrace the feeling of safety and security. You may even begin to imagine yourself as a tree with very deep, secure roots that grounds that tree deep down, no matter what challenges, winds, rains, no matter what happens, this tree is so securely founded and grounded in its space, its spot, knowing that it was planted here for a reason, and this is a space for it. So we're going to enter some deep breaths together to allow us to collectively relax, collectively gain a sense of peace and calm as we enter our meditation. Just taking a moment to check in with self, breathing naturally. Now we're going to take that first deep breath together. I want you to breathe in through your nose, breathing in nice and deep. breath of life. And as we release, settling into the moment, connecting ourselves to the surroundings, dropping our guard. Just notice what it feels like to begin to drop that guard, to begin to dissolve the separation, to dissolve the thoughts of the mind. So I'm going to take that second deep breath in, breathing in nice and deep through your nose. And as you release, begin to release that fear, feeling even more relaxed than you did with the first breath. Relaxed in your face, relaxed in your shoulders, relaxed in your body, just open and present and grounded in this moment. Beginning to feel this sense of curiosity as we put ourselves in the position of the observer of this life. As we begin to just observe what happens without the need to judge it or change it. Simply observing what naturally occurs. Let's take another deep breath in. And release it out. All the way down. Coming inside of yourself. Deep within yourself. To a space of nothingness, of blankness, of openness, of expansion. Just find yourself settled into that space. Take yourself back to the beginning, before life began to paint your experience. And just find space to breathe here. Breathing in and breathing out through your nose. Embodying the energy of peace. Embodying the energy of relaxation. Embodying the energy of tranquility. Feeling as tranquil as a calm body of water. Feeling that sense of calm, like the clouds floating in the sky. Feeling that sense of stability, like the strength of the trees. Just allow yourself to feel a sense of openness, a sense of expansion, no longer needing to fear the world around us. No longer needing to believe the illusion of harm. Letting go and releasing old stories of wrongdoing, of hurt and pain and misfortune. Releasing all the old stories, old identities, old personalities of fear. Allow it to release as you find connection to nature, whether it's the wind, the water, the trees. Allow yourself to connect to one of these very natural elements. Experience the calmness, the sense of security, sense of openness, sense of peace, no longer being torn away from what is natural by the illusion of fear. And as we further depart from what we remember to be fear, notice how you begin to feel this sense of fullness, of wholeness. That sense of wholeness is you allowing spirit to be within you, you allowing love to fill you. No longer cutting yourself off from power, from source, with the illusion of fear, the frequency of fear. Recognize yourself, see yourself in nature, whether it's the tree, the sky, the water, the earth. See yourself in nature. knowing that nature doesn't fear. There's a sense of connection to the all that nature knows and understands. There's an order to things that nature understands, so there's no need for fear. You can release any behavioral habits. You can let go of any behavioral habits of fear. Whether it's fear of the outside world or our inner world. We are willing to see all of ourselves. We're not afraid of ourselves. We're willing to see all of the world. We're no longer afraid of the world. We are ready to receive the love of this life experience, both from within and from without. Allow this to resonate with your soul. Allow yourself to be the observer, the infinite expanded consciousness that realizes that everything is working out. The only time things aren't working out for our good is when we get in the way, when we allow fear to overtake us. You breathe, staying with your breath, staying with that image of nature. You realize that life is simple. There's a simple formula to life that's not allowing fear to dictate your actions. Not allowing fear to dictate the actions. Instead, allowing love, which is knowledge of self, to be what rules our decisions and our perceptions and our experiences. Just give yourself permission in this moment to let go of that fear and to create space for more love. To create space for more courage, for more peace, for more satisfaction, for more pleasure. Knowing that we no longer need to fear, we can call on support of the spiritual world. We can call on support from this physical realm to assist us in any challenge. We can trust our intelligence, we can trust our intuition to know what to do in the face of a challenge. And we don't need to worry in leading up to that. Today, more than ever before, we recognize the power of our thoughts. And more than ever before, we are supported in choosing peaceful, positive, powerful thoughts. We allow ourselves to be empowered. We allow ourselves to feel confident. We allow ourselves to be at peace. We're going to do a survey of our body, our physical and our etheric body. And I want you to ask yourself, if there's any fear in here, where are you? Reveal yourself. Maybe nothing is revealed, or maybe something is revealed. Just give it space, and maybe the answer doesn't come to you now, but you pose the question. If there's any fear in here, where does it lie? For now, it's okay to still have that fear, as long as we choose to not allow that fear to guide us. You don't allow that illusion of threat to guide us. No matter how convincing it might seem to be. We know that whenever we're operating in an energy of fear, we've separated ourselves from source. We have separated ourselves from love. And breathe as we observe our inner visions. As we visualize visualize ourselves in our most confident, solid, whole form. As you visualize that self, trust this version of you. Get to witness this version of you experiencing life to the fullest, allowing itself to show up naturally and whole without cutting oneself off from source, but allowing source to flow through and into this world, allowing oneself to receive all that one deserves, no longer allowing fear to make us feel unworthy, understanding the infinite nature of oneself, understanding the goodness of oneself. We breathe, we can relax into the knowing that we are supported, we are guided, we are protected. Allow ourselves to open up, allow the guidance to come in, allow source to be present. Standing your wholeness, you are unstoppable. There are no limits to what you can achieve. You can't overcome any obstacle. No temporary discomfort is too strong for you in order to get to your liberation, your peace, your success, and prosperity. You are resilient. You are intelligent. You are wise. You are calm. You are at peace. That peace is where your power lies. Focus into our breath. Bring back to the body. Feeling at peace. Trusting and knowing the truth. There's no need to fear. You can walk through that fear. You can breathe through that fear and see what's on the other side. Being sent people and resources to support us. We're being shown the dreams of the version of us that doesn't allow fear to control it. We can be in gratitude for the promise of what lies ahead for us. Coming more back into the room, back into our bodies. Settling down with this feeling of wholeness in your being. This feeling of expansiveness, expansion. No longer being weighed down by the feelings of fear. Instead, feeling high and expanded and unlimited. So we're going to begin to close out the meditation as we come back into our bodies, walking ourselves back here, back into this present moment. We're going to take those 3 deep breaths. And if anything came up as far as fear still remaining, you can go ahead and release that with these breaths. Trusting and knowing that you have all the time you need. And you have all the power to make the changes you desire. You have all the support and all the resources to make the changes that you've been inspired to desire. So as we take these breaths, we can let go of anything else that we no longer want to carry. So when you're ready, we're going to do this together, amplifying one another's power because we do this together. So we're going to inhale, and then as we exhale, we'll release any type of residual fears. Maybe it's our own, or maybe it's one another's fear. Right now, we're going to clear out that fear of ourselves and the collective. We're going to clear out the fears in the hearts of others, so that fear isn't affecting our decision making. We're going to clear out the fear in the hearts of children, of adults, of our mothers, our fathers, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, our teachers, our leaders. We're going to clear out the fear with each breath. So when you're ready, I want you to take a deep breath in. And as you release that breath, clearing out the fear from your being and from the world, clearing out that frequency of fear, seeing it release, seeing the relief of the release of that fear. Let's go in again for our second breath. When you're ready, breathe in nice and deep through your nose, filling up with that power. And as you release, removing that fear off the minds and the hearts of the ones we love, so that they can be in their wholeness, they can be in their peace. One more deep breath together, breathing in nice and deep. Once again, clearing out all of the energy of fear, letting it wash away from ourselves, one another, and the world. Feeling the peace that has filled the space. Feeling the gratitude. Someone felt that release. They are grateful, not knowing where it came from. They were able to receive it. Going back into our bodies, into our awareness. Bring our palms together. Bring those palms together to our forehead, reminding us to think positive thoughts, because our thoughts become our beliefs, and our beliefs create our realities. So let's create our realities of the beautiful heaven on earth that is possible for each and every one of us. Bringing the palms down to the lips as a reminder to speak peace and power over ourselves and others. And then finally, bringing our palms down to the heart, the portal of love, as a reminder that we are love. Love is all around. Allow that love energy to possess you and give love to the world. The light within me sees and honors the light within you. Namaste. Ashe. Santi, Sana. Give thanks, peace and love. Okay. So I'm gonna open up space now. As you take your time coming back, get some water. Ashe. And some water, whatever you need. And I will open up the floor. Any reflections on the meditation, any reflections on the concept of fear, anything like that. The floor is yours. See the hearts, see the ashes, peace and love.
Hello.
Hello, Nisha.
Thank you for guiding us today. That was really good. I think that I may not notice or give so much attention to the fear that I'm actually feeling in my body, but it's there. And I think that meditating through it helped me and will help me release it so that I can like get rid of some procrastination, and because I think that's what is rooted in fear. And I think that I'll start to see more things manifest that I want when I start being intentional about letting go the fear from my body. Yeah. So that was necessary. Thank you.
Ashe, Ashe. And I'm glad you brought that up. This is why I wanted us to collectively release fear from ourselves and to clear out fear for others. Because sometimes we don't want to acknowledge our own fears, but we can still receive the benefits of a collective cleansing. You know, sometimes we don't want to acknowledge our fears, whether it's the ego to protect us, or maybe we don't want to even give energy to it. We don't even want to give it energy to let it know that it's still there and give life to it. Which I understand, you know, but if there's evidence of it, we can't deny the evidence, right? If we're procrastinating or avoiding things, and we can't deny the evidence that there's some fear there. So we definitely want to release it. And you can, if let's say you don't want to acknowledge the idea of fear because you don't want to give energy to fear, I would say acknowledge it for your inner child, because it's still a separate version of yourself, but most likely that fear affected your inner child, right? So cleanse it out from them, help them to release that fear. If you don't want to take ownership of it, but help your inner child to release that fear. And then make sure you acknowledge that you've created space for peace to come in, for love to come in. So as you clear something out, you always want to fill that space with something else, so that way it can't return. Thank you, Alicia. Anyone else? Yes, release the fear from the inner child. Okay, so grab my notes. And feel free if anybody wants to, unmute, feel free to at any point. So to simply define what fear is, right? Because and part of my work as a therapist is education, right? I want to give you terms and labels and concepts to understand the phenomena that you experience, because in that understanding, you can find solutions, right? When you understand what the situation is, you can figure out what the solutions are. Okay. So fear is a response to a perceived threat. Okay. So realize that that's the definition I pulled from the internet. There's a key word of perceived threat. Perception is a part of our human experience, and we differ in perception. So I might perceive something one way, each might perceive it another way, Aaron each another way. So perception is a unique experience that we each have. So fear doesn't guarantee that something is a threat. Fear has to do with a perception. Okay. So fear is an emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat or danger. So although this is a natural reaction from us, we can begin to fear things. We can begin to fear things in an unnatural way, or we can begin to experience fear unnaturally, right? From an evolutionary standpoint, before our worlds became so modern, there were other dangers around. And even in some places, like if you live in certain neighborhoods, you don't go around walking, just openly and freely because there are dangers there. But for the most part, we're not experiencing fear to escape a danger and then returning back to baseline of peace and calm. For many of us, we're experiencing this low level of fear persistently. Okay? And sometimes that fear is at a level to where we can notice that fear. So whether it's the increased heart rate, rapid breathing, muscle tension, stress hormones, adrenaline going, which is like preparing us to fight or flight. But other times we don't realize that we're in fear. Maybe we're just a little tense. Or maybe we're not breathing. Or maybe we're tapping our foot, or we're picking at our hair or our skin. Right? I know I used to like split my ends a lot when I would be nervous. Right? We might not know it can be so subtle. But even that subtle level of fear is releasing those stress hormones that are designed to help you to fight and flight, to run away. But it's dropping these stress hormones. And when that's constantly happening, it's having negative effects on our physical well-being and our mental well-being. It almost becomes a poison. Before it was an asset, but when you have too much of it, it becomes a poison. Okay. So fear can be beneficial in that you have that sense of a perceived threat, like a bear, and you use that adrenaline to get out of there, to run away or to fight the bear if you have to. But fear is not helpful when we're perceiving things as fear that don't need to be perceived as fear. whether it's an email, whether it's a goal, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's a new lover, right? Whether it's looking at ourselves in the mirror or speaking up for ourselves. This is when fear is not helpful, okay? So we want to identify when we are operating out of that space of unhelpful fear. Okay, so how do we begin to overcome a non-truly threatening fear? Okay, so I'm gonna give some tips for how we can overcome that fear, so that way, even if we experience it, it doesn't have to stop us, and then eventually that neural pathway of fear will begin to starve it, and we'll begin to feed another neural pathway of courage, of peace, of safety. Okay, and then that will become our default. So one of the best things is self-awareness, right? Or mindfulness. Being aware of what is happening in your body, in your emotions, without judgment. So just kind of being able to observe, being mindful of your surroundings, being able to have a level of presence to really know what's going on. Because the opposite of that is us living in the reality that our conditioned mind is creating. And that reality is based off of the past. And typically based off of past negative experiences, because our brain is designed to keep us alive. So it's going to encode in a deep level the things it wants us to avoid for survival purposes, okay? So when we can practice mindfulness, we can begin to notice, what thoughts am I thinking? And how are these thoughts that I'm thinking affecting how I feel? Do I want to feel this way? Does it feel good or does it not? So practicing mindfulness, and we can practice mindfulness through meditation, right? When we're sitting there, being present, not judging, just observing. We can practice mindfulness in yoga, right? Where you're being very conscious of your breath as you move. We can practice mindfulness in reading a book, right? How many of us are reading a book and we get to the end of the page and we don't realize what we read because we were thinking while we were reading? We weren't being mindful. Okay. Mindful eating, mindful walking. We can practice mindfulness in just about anything, and it's all about just doing that one thing and being fully present with it and observing. Okay. And the reason why mindfulness is important is because it'll help you to notice when you are in a state of fear and create that level of observing it without judgment, so that way you can make a change. Okay. Another tip for overcoming fear is challenging negative thoughts. As soon as you notice that you feel fear, I want you to say, what thought am I thinking? What thought was I just thinking? Right? Notice what thought that you were thinking. And then I want you to challenge that thought. Look for the pros and cons that support that thought. Like, is it a reality? Am I really stupid? Are people really judging me? Is the world really against me? People really not understand me? Am I really being rejected? Am I really abandoned out here? Is my whole life really suck? Or is it just what that conditioned mind is focused on in that moment? Okay. This is a great opportunity for gratitude practicing. So maybe you're going through a stressful event, and maybe you need to say, you know what? I'm making this thing make it seem like my whole life is bad, but today I woke up, I had a roof over my head, the sun was shining, I'm breathing. Go through that gratitude. Challenge that negative thought with some gratitude. Challenge that negative thought with some acknowledgement of the support of the universe that you have. Right? It's okay. I know I'm protected, I'm guided. I know I have my ancestors. I know I got my angels. I know I have source protecting, guiding. I know I got my friends, my family. So challenge that negative thought. Don't let it convince you to live in that fear. Recognize yourself as source. I am the creator experiencing life as Makeda. There's no need to fear because I created this thing. Or the creator created this thing the same way he created me. I'm connected to everything. There's nothing to fear. All of it is me. I am all of it. Okay. So just giving yourself different perspectives, right? This would be a good time for affirmations. Another thing we can do to overcome fears is by visualizing success. So let's say you have a specific fear of public speaking and you know you have a talk coming up. Visualize yourself being up there and visualize yourself being confident, and you have this outfit on, and visualize the people in the audience really engaging with you and asking questions and being very interested. Visualize yourself just having a good time and walking around talking and using your hands and bobbing, and then visualize yourself afterwards, people complimenting you on how well you spoke. Visualize that. Because when we visualize things, we give our brain an image. And our brain doesn't really know the difference between what is real, what is not real. Right? The subconscious mind is programmed off of images. So you keep exposing your subconscious mind to images of you succeeding at something, it's going to begin to believe that reality. This is why it's really important to be mindful of the things that we expose ourselves to, like watching a lot of crime shows and a lot of trauma, drama, all that stuff. Those are images you're giving yourself. So of course you're going to have anxiety because you're showing yourself all the possible things that could go wrong. I know we live in that generation with that the movie Final Destination, that movie series Final Destination, and a lot of us now when we get behind a truck with wood, or we get behind, like, we have these weird fears. It's like it was only because we were shown that in a movie. Now we're experiencing anxiety. Right? So visualize success, visualize peace. This was a big thing when I was getting ready for my dissertation defense. I visualized myself successfully presenting it. Right? There's many things that I visualized over and over again, and now they're happening in real time, or they've already happened. Okay. Another key tool for overcoming fear is gradual exposure. So one of the things I'd have my clients do is I have them create a fear hierarchy. So I'll give a personal account for myself. Having had social anxiety in the past, my fear hierarchy included modeling was on there. That's why I joined Slick. Shout out to my Slick family here. Modeling, public speaking, dressing up and being noticed, expressing my feelings. Like all these things would go on my fear hierarchy. I would list out everything that I was afraid to do, right? Dancing, singing, all these, list them out, right? And then I would gradually put myself in situations where I had to do those things. Because I was not going to let fear, even if it turned out bad, at least I was not going to allow fear to prevent me from even trying to experience it, right? So create a fear hierarchy. Create a list of all the things that you're afraid of and begin to gradually expose yourself. So you don't have to go all the way in. So let's say you have a fear of dogs. I'm not saying go sit with a dog, go buy a dog today, but maybe today you'll go on Google and look up pictures of dogs. Maybe tomorrow you'll look at some videos of dogs. Maybe the day after that, you'll go sit outside of a dog park in your car. Maybe the next day you'll go look at some puppies, right? So you gradually work yourself up. And what you're doing is that you're showing your brain new evidence. You're forcing it to update its information. Right? So you're starving, you're showing that fear I had, there's no evidence to support it, and eventually it will go away. So that gradual exposure. And while you're doing the gradual exposure, use your breathing to remind yourself that I'm safe. Use your affirmations to remind yourself that you're safe in that moment. Okay. And that leads to the last one is positive self-talk and affirmations, right? Affirming that over yourself. I'm good, right? You're doing a great job. Affirm your inner child, speak to yourself in third person. Okay. Now, other things that we can do to help ourselves on a physical level. So this is more the emotional side, but to give us a little bit more physical support, eating a healthy diet helps you to overcome fear. Because there's certain parasites and bacteria in us that throw our gut off. And if we're not getting that good serotonin, it's going to be difficult to maintain a good mood. And it's also going to be harder for our brain to develop new neural pathways. So we're exposing ourselves to things that we're afraid of, but we're still holding on to this fear because our brain isn't able to update because it doesn't have the proper nutrients to build those new neural pathways. So having a healthy, balanced diet, be intuitive about what you need to be eating. Spending time in nature to get your body re-regulated. Nature makes us feel safe. The vibrations of nature are very good for our bodies. So as we begin to release those vibrations of fear, let's surround ourselves with vibrations that will be good for us to harmonize with. Do things that are uncomfortable to you, like taking cold showers or going to the gym. That way, when it's time for you to go to your fear hierarchy and pick out one of those things, you've already developed the willpower to do something uncomfortable. Okay. And then the last thing I'll say is seek out support and accountability. Let people know this is a fear I have and I want to overcome it. Hold me accountable. Right. Or, I'm afraid of going to a dog park. Can you go with me? We don't have to do things alone. We have people, we have community. You can go find a random stranger. Right. But seek that support and accountability. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So that is it. I'm being mindful of time. So over this next week, right, we have the full moon coming up. I can't remember what day it's on. I believe it's the 30th, maybe. We have this full moon coming up. Think about if there's any residual fears that you want to release. Maybe some fears that your inner child might have that you want to assist them in releasing and letting go. So that way you can experience true liberation. Liberation from procrastination, liberation from avoidance, liberation from self-judgment, liberation from guardedness from other people, right? Nothing is going to stand in the way of source expressing itself through you. Nothing is going to stand in the way of you experiencing the pleasure of this heaven on earth that we get to experience. Nothing's going to get in the way. Okay, of you having fun and enjoying all the moments, even the pressure moments, right? Nothing will get in the way. Okay. All right. All right. So I'll open up space now for any comments. If anybody, I'm cool with us hanging on time. I know we're at the hour, but I'm cool with us hanging on. If anybody wants to hang on, talk more. We're not rushing at all, but I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. Any questions, comments? If anybody want to put out a fear that they're releasing. Thank you for feeling safe to share this. Alicia, sending you love. I'm sending you love. That's tough. It's like, how could you not feel upset whenever you hear something like that come from your mother, or when you remember the things that your mother has said? Mother is supposed to represent your source of safety, right? She was your source coming into this world. So I don't know, when you were talking, something was telling me for you to examine your natal chart, and see if that shows up in your natal chart, like have someone maybe go through your natal chart for you. And because I think sometimes when we know that something is just written for our journey, or it might help us to discover why. And when we realize that it's a purpose thing, it can kind of create some separation from it being as personal, right? When we realize it's a purpose thing, it makes it less personal. And then I think a part of it too could be making sure that you are that mother for your inner child. So whenever you do have those experiences, sometimes, our mothers, out of their own fear, they don't realize the damage that they're doing, right? Your mother is in a state of fear. Otherwise, she would be whole and she would love you, So it's unfortunate that the fear has overcome her to where she can't even acknowledge the hurt that she's inflicting on her daughter. She's so afraid to even acknowledge the way she's hurting you that she continues to do it, So I would say continue to love and nurture your inner child. Have somebody look into your natal chart, and then continue to affirm the reality. We're not far from it. We're not far from the reality where everything that you've been visualizing and hoping for comes to be. Again, notice all the evidence of it already happening. And for whatever reason, this is the, everyone has misfortunes. Some of them are going to be more significant than others. But what will help us is always looking at these unsatisfying experiences or as what value is in here for me? What lesson is in here for me? What book chapter can I write? What words can I speak to this that someone else will read and it liberate them from feeling so alone in that experience? You know, sometimes that's the sacrifice that we chose to make coming here in this experiences that we will go through, you know. So I'm sending you love. Alicia's sending you love as well. You know, and don't be afraid to seek and connect with other mothers. Maybe not your given mother, but you can also connect with other mothers. My mother, I don't think you met my mom before. Have you been over to the house?
I have not.
Okay. So yeah. Oh my God. And she would love your Swookie. She would be going off on it. So next time Erin and take a trip to Atlanta, y'all gotta go by the house again. And
All right.
yeah, my parents are there for everybody. Okay.
Shoot, I might just take that trip up there myself.
Yeah.
I need some love.
Yeah. So just let me know. Let me know.
Makeda, can I say something?
Yes, of course.
I'm outside. I'm finally up. But I wanted to tell you that it's of course nice to have that connection, the mother connection, and experience that love and acceptance, but you can access that with yourself too, that deep love, and that acceptance, and just really affirming everything opposite of the seeds that have been planted of negativity. Like, just begin to reverse those seeds with the words that you say and the words that you declare over yourself, because I don't know if you have children or not, but we all have that mother thing inside of us that's ancestral and that's intrinsic to womanhood. And so you can, just begin to heal your heart through speaking all of the love inside of you and writing those affirmations down, to heal yourself. And I'm just sending you a lot of love, because I do know how deep words can hurt us and how they can cause us to not go further in life when we want somebody to love us so bad, that should love us, that really should love us. So I'm just sending you a lot of love and healing energy that will help heal your emotional wounds and heal that mother wound. And I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure where you are, but I'm always willing to share my mama too. She's a wonderful woman. She's 63. She's actually in Atlanta this weekend living her best life with friends. I'm like, what are you doing? But yeah, this is why this circle is so needed, though, because there's things that we need from each other that we can tap into. So thank you so much for providing this space for us too.
For her to be so intentional about denying you that love, it's definitely bigger. It's bigger than something personal, in that I think this is like your Achilles heel for this lifetime. Like, this is your thing that you have to find. It's kind of like being in an abusive relationship with a partner that you're looking for this love from, but they ain't gonna ever give it to you. And it's not until they see that you've walked away from them that they might wake up and begin to realize. But either way, you have to liberate yourself. And I think right now is that time. So continue to speak, ask the Most High to deliver that attachment, to deliver you from that attachment, to allow peace to cloak that attachment, to resolve and to send peace to her heart, because she's definitely hurt and she's struggling with something, and she's obviously not living out her highest potential if she's being this cruel to her own daughter. So this is like your big body God energy with this situation with your mother, right? So see it as, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can make peace with something, with this part of my human experience, because I am beyond the human experience. So I'm not going to allow this piece of this human experience to make me feel like I'm not what I truly am, and have it to cloak my entire experience here on this heaven. But also recognize that it was fear that led you to reaching out to mom. Whenever we operate out of fear, things might not go well, right? So in that moment of that fear of being alone, be with yourself, process that with yourself first, right? Soothe yourself, explore with yourself. And then after that, if it's still like, I feel inspired to reach out to mom, reach out to mom, right? And maybe, again, you might be in that abusive relationship trying to get love from somebody who can't give you love. So even though I want to reach out to mom, she's not gonna be able to give me what I want. My logic is telling me she's not gonna be able to, as much as my heart wants it. Let me reach out to my homegirl. Let me reach out to let me reach out to somebody else. Right.
Yeah, you're right. I ignored my logic 3 times. I literally picked up the phone 3 times, and my spirit was like, now you know your mama is not gone. And I'm like, but it's my mama. And you're like, okay, last time I went through this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I know all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna practice it, and I got this.
Yeah.
And I will be well. I will be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trust your higher power. Trust your higher self. Yeah. And again, don't get so caught up in the human experience part of it. Don't get so caught up in that, because you are far more beyond it. Yeah. Thank you for supporting, Alicia.
Of course, I love being in the space, so thank you. Thank y'all.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, ladies. Well, that is it for today. Our next session is going to be on Friday for our adult ADHD group. So if you or anyone else you know suffers from inattention, disorganization, procrastination, hyperactivity, communication issues, anything like that, feel free to send them my way, get you all connected. As a member of the Soul Powerful Wellness Collective, you have access to all the classes that I offer. Okay. Right.
Thank you. You have a good weekend.
You too. Peace and love.
Later.
Peace.